Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and Jim Jordan just takes a blowtorch to that rascal Jamie Raskin in front of the rest of Congress. What he had to say is absolutely spot on. Let's dive in.
Not a word in opposition to my amendment, but they all voted against it, simply because they're walking the line with Elon Musk right off the edge of the Constitution, because there's no constitutional grounding for anything that guy's doing, but they walked the line behind Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and they just defunded hundreds of millions of dollars from community law enforcement and public safety. So don't give me that lecture about defunding the police, which our side has never supported, but their side is just colluded in right now in terms of what the Department of Justice did. And that doesn't even get into their attempt to dismantle completely the ATF, shut down critical functions in the Department of Justice that protect us from foreign involvement in our elections, to take down the kleptocracy task force and so on. So I don't want any lectures coming in our direction either. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll reserve my time.
The gentleman from Maryland reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You can try to rewrite history, but it just doesn't work. Let me just read off the Democrat-run cities that did defund the police. And here's the game the Democrats won. All during the summer of 2020, they were saying defund the police. Democrats-run cities all over the country were doing so. And now they say, oh, but we want the federal taxpayers, because crime went up when we defunded the police. We want federal taxpayers to send us money to make up for the cuts we did there, and we spent the money elsewhere. That was the game. If you don't believe me, here's the list. Austin, Texas, $150 million cut. Boston, Massachusetts, $12 million cut. Burlington, Vermont, $1.1 million. Denver, Colorado, $55 million. Eureka, California, $1.2. Hartford, Connecticut, $2 million. Kansas City, Kansas, $42 million. Los Angeles, $150 million. Madison, Wisconsin, $2 million cut. Minneapolis, $8 million. New York City, $1 billion cut that summer. Norman, Oklahoma, $865,000. Oklahoma City, $5.5 million. Philadelphia, $33 million. Portland, Oregon, $16 million. Salt Lake City, $5.3 million. San Francisco, $120 million. Seattle, Washington, $69 million. Washington, D.C., $15 million. And we know about the crime that's happened in this city. And, of course, in the ranking member's home state of Maryland, Baltimore cut their police department $22 million. And now they're saying, oh, make sure the federal money keeps coming. And look, I'm not against some of these grant programs. We'll look at all those. But don't say you didn't cut the defund the police. You did. Everyone knows you did, and you all talked about it, and you cheered it on. You said for the bad guys who harmed the police that summer when you were encouraging cities to cut the police, the bad guys who were you were raising money to bail them out. Your your presidential candidate was raising money to bail them out. So you can have all the revisionist history you want. The facts are the facts. We respect the police who want it done right at the local level. God bless them. So I've not been for defunding them. We're for honoring local police, like this good sheriff, this member of Congress, and what they do day in and day out. That's what this resolution was about. But the other side, they want to come here and start talking about all kinds of things. I didn't intend to. I intended to, you heard my opening statement. You heard the gentleman's opening statement. But the other side wants to go start attacking things. Okay, fine. We're just setting the record straight.
Well, Jamie, you didn't want a lecture, so instead, you're just going to get a list. A line-by-line list of the Democrat-run cities, Democrat-run areas, and Democrat-held towns that decided to cut police funding after the 2020 riots. Congratulations, bud. You played yourself. All right? The very people of those areas quickly realized defunding the police is not the direction you need to go. The unbridled truth here is that the police departments across the nation, whether you love them or you hate them, are often an invisible line that people are not willing to cross. Even hardened criminals will not cross certain lines if they know the police are around. But if you start to make that line not only take that invisible line and then weaken it by taking away money from those departments, crime goes up. Right? That is what happened. It happens every single time. Democrats try this every now and then, and it does not work the way they intended. mainly because Democrats can't govern. But Jamie Raskin is out here talking about, oh, well, we're defending the Constitution. The Constitution? Give me a break. The Democrats have been trying to make an end run around the Constitution since Woodrow Wilson. Ever since that man took the Democrat Party and took it into the progressive direction that it now is today, the Democrat Party has been trying to add members of the Supreme Court or even take away members of the Supreme Court. I don't think that's very constitutional. They've tried to make end runs around Congress. They've tried to flood our court system with these ridiculous hacks that care more about being an activist judge than being an actual judge. Remember, Trump's first term, he filled more positions than anyone else in their first term in American history, only for all of that good work to get reversed when the Biden administration took over. And speaking of the Biden administration, Kamala Harris is still catching strays out here, ladies and gentlemen, and oh, it's so delicious. As it turns out, Kamala Harris tried to encourage people to donate to something called the Bail Project. Essentially, thanks to her tweet and the actions of other Democrats, they raised about $41 million back in 2020. And so, here's the quote here. Harris promoted the bail fund in June 2020 to help bail Black Lives Matter rioters out of jail, but only a fraction of the more than $41 million actually went to freeing those rioters. In other words, the very organization the Democrats tried to trust, tried to get you to give your money to, ultimately didn't do their actual jobs. They didn't follow their own statements. They didn't follow what people were hoping that would end up doing. So even the Democrat-run NGOs don't know how to govern themselves and will often try to take money and use it inappropriately. And when I was looking up this story, because I remember Kamala Harris trying to talk about this organization, all of the news stories were fact-checking Donald Trump because he said that she donated directly. Okay, that's apparently false. All right, it's patently wrong. But she promoted it. She believed in it. She helped it. She gave them a spotlight. She gave them a platform. She talked about them and helped them raise $41 million. I think that's a problem. Not a problem that you're trying to raise money for an organization you believe in. That's a great thing about our fundamental right. Thank God for Citizens United. But funny how it all works out. That this organization couldn't even do its own job properly and what it actually alleges to do to begin with. It makes no sense here, ladies and gentlemen. But the Democrats are trying to clutch their pearls and they're still talking about Elon Musk. He's left. He's gone back to Twitter. He's gone back to SpaceX. He's trying to put out fires in his other organizations and then had this very weird spat with Donald Trump afterwards, to which he's actually had to come back hat in hand and said, maybe I went a little too far. I mean, we've all forgiven Elon, and that's a man who's looking into the future. I put him on the same category as Walt Disney, as someone who's constantly evolving to move us forward. And yeah, Walt Disney had that vision himself. He also had that boundless energy. There's very rare men in history like Walt and like Elon, and you also know them by their first names. However, when it comes to Jamie Raskin, he takes one look at those gentlemen and says, oh, no. We need to do things through our bureaucracy. We have to do it a slow and constitutional way. They pick and choose when they want the Constitution, and then when it comes to actually getting money to fund their little pet projects, they either get you to fork over the money or they try to sucker the federal government. And I think this is the biggest problem, and I'll wrap this up with this. The biggest problem of this video is not that Jamie Raskin is a hypocrite. It's not the fact that the Democrats defunded their own police departments. It's the fact that the Democrat play for the past 30 years has been run up deficits in their own states, in their own cities, and pray that the federal government will bail them out. All with the argument that, well, we pay more into the system. Well, then you should be able to afford a whole lot more of your problems. Now, shouldn't you? States like California, their roads are in terrible shape. They can't manage their own forests. They can't govern themselves. States like New York, still racking up massive amounts of debt, and the middle class is gone. Illinois, same problem. New Mexico, again, wealthy upper class, poor underclass, run by Democrats. This is a common theme, and they've been begging the federal government to bail them out because they can't tax their way out of the problems, because that's kind of how those problems began. You have that much high taxes, eventually people are going to get the message, they're going to leave. So you can either reform the way that you do business, or you can beg the federal government to give you money. Guess which party is begging for the money? It's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. That's the game here. That's what Jamie Raskin is ultimately trying to do. And no one in their right minds are buying it. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.